additions to the agenda? All right. So now I need approval of the agenda. Trustee Carabella?
I wasn't here for June 6th, so I need to abstain from that. But I wanted to make, I noticed, because I watched the video, so I noticed there were some changes that I would like to talk about. Is that right now?
What sort of changes in the minutes?
Well, I was just, listening to the whole board meeting, and I missed the policy meeting as well. And I just wanted to say, please, everybody, use your microphones, too. It's really noticeable when we don't speak in that. So with regards to the Angelus, the minutes, I didn't...
Excuse me. We are going to approve the agenda, and if you want to go into the minutes, then I'll be happy to speak about the minutes.
Thank you. I got mixed up minutes.
No problem at all. It's a long agenda. So we're going now for approval of the agenda, and I don't think I've asked this. So did I ask for? No. Okay. A mover for the agenda, please. Approval of the agenda. Vice Chair Trice, seconded by Trustee Intomasi. Any questions to the agenda? No. All right. All in favor of the agenda as stated. Trustee Danko? Trustee Danko, you in favor of the agenda?
Yes, I'm in favor. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All right, so we've got the agenda. Declaration of conflict of interest? None?
Yes.
All right, Trustee Danko, which item?
Yes, I will recuse myself from item 8.5, the overall budget estimates, as my wife is currently an employee of the board, and she has applied for a position that's been created by this budget.
Trustee Danko, thank you, and we'll talk again when we get down to that, and we'll let you know. Okay, thank you. All right, so we've approved that. So there are no presentations, there are no delegations. So 6.1, minutes of the June 6th, 2017 regular board meeting. Can I have a mover, please? Vice Chair Trice, seconded by Trustee Rowe. All right, now, Trustee Carabella, is this the minutes that you wanted to speak to?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So I listened to the recordings on YouTube, so that's fantastic. And I just, something that's not reflected in the minutes is that Paula did outline the recurring themes both in support and not in support, and I don't find that's reflected. There's also a question about the recurring cutout paste that wasn't reflected. And some things that are in the report are here, but they weren't really discussed in the meeting. So I was just also asking, like, in terms of doing the minutes, is it strictly on just what was discussed? Or, do we add things that weren't really discussed, but still are reflected in the report?
Through you, Madam Chair, we try to highlight the just the main issue, the main topics, and we do take if there was some verbatim that was in the report, it's usually not reflected in the minutes unless there was some commentary. So it's a combination of both.
Do you have a concern with items that were included or excluded from the minutes, Trustee Carabella?
Well, I would like the part put in that I did have support also for the motion, that the report did show support as well as not. And I think this one is more that it's not.
All right. Then we will not pass the minutes of June 6th tonight. We will ask the director to go back and... You can add that line? All right, then we'll carry on. Okay. Any other comments on the minutes of June 6th? All right, so did I get a mover in a second? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a vote on the minutes of June 6th as amended. Okay? So, Trustee Manuela?
In favor.
Trustee Rowe?
In favor.
Trustee Christina?
In favor.
Vice Chair Trice?
In favor.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Trustee Michael? In favor. Trustee Intomasi? Trustee Ingrid? Trustee Caravella?
In favor.
Thank you. Trustee Danko?
Favor.
Sorry.
Favor.
You're so quiet there, Anthony. 6.2, the minutes of June 14th, the special board meeting. Can I have a mover, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Trustee Danko, seconded by Trustee Intomasi. Any questions to the minutes? No? All right. Can I ask them for approval? Trustee Carabella?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Ingrid? Trustee Intomasi? Trustee Michael? Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Trustee Christina?
In favor.
Trustee Rowe?
In favor.
Trustee Manuela?
In favor.
Trustee Danko?
In favor.
Thank you. Business arising, summary of outstanding items from previous meetings. It is on page 12. I can't remember what it was, but it was on page 12. Wasn't too much. The student trustees, yes. Okay, approved as amended, and we're looking at that again in October. Yes? Okay. All right. So we are into action items, and the first action item is 8.1, the Angelus by Trustee Carabella. Now, this came to us on a notice of motion, Trustee Carabella. You have, how many minutes did I say? 5 minutes? 5 minutes to speak to it. Yes, Manuela.
Just before we start the action
You want to? Yes,
yeah,
of course.
Is it okay
Yes,
if I thank
absolutely.
you so much? So just before I leave, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone in Halton Catholic District School Board as a whole, because my past 2 years here have been unexplainable. I can't put words together on how my experience was. And leaving Halton Catholic as a student trustee and just as a student in general, there's no doubt in my mind that the rest of the students to come in the future are left in good hands. So thank you so much for everything, and good luck to the student trustees next year.
Thank you so much. And Manuela has her gifts. All right, don't forget your gifts. All right, now Manuela has to leave because she has an exam tomorrow, so she's a good student. She's off to study. All right, and our other student trustees, would you like to go for exams? You are welcome to go, we understand.
I also have an exam
Then
in AP Chemistry. So.
Well, then I think perhaps you may want to think about that. Christina?
Yeah, I would appreciate it as well.
All right. Anna Maria? Okay.
Thank you guys for a great year.
You can say? If you have exams, that's fine too. You're all right. Okay. Okay. All right, Christina. So we'll just give our student trustees with our deep appreciation. Good luck with your exams. Have a wonderful summer. And we'll see you in September. And Manuela, stop by sometime. Okay, we'll give our student trustees a minute. Now, where was I? Yes, okay. All right, so we'll continue. 8.1, the Angelus. Trustee Carabella, you have 5 minutes. And then we will have 3 minutes per trustee for any comments. We'll go around the room, so save up your thoughts, and 3 minutes each per trustee. The director is counting, and then Trustee Carabella will have 3 minutes to close her arguments.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Trustee Danko.
Just a point of order, did you have a mover and a seconder so we can discuss?
I haven't yet, but I will work on it, thank you. A mover and a seconder. All right, let me just get to that page. Page 13. Thank you, Trustee Danko. Where would I be without you telling me these things? Okay. All right, so we have a mover on page 13 for the Angelus by Trustee Carabella. Can we have a seconder, please? Vice Chair Trites. Trustee Carabella, you have the floor.
Okay, so do I read the motion? Is that
Yes, please.
considered not part of the 5 minutes?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
You read the whole thing.
Okay. So the resolution is whereas May 13th, 2017 is the 100th anniversary of the commencement of the apparitions of Our Lady of Fatima, and whereas Pope Francis has highlighted this centennial by declaring a Jubilee year, and whereas praying the nude Angelus is a beautiful Catholic devotion to Our Lady, both in the home and the workplace, and whereas the Angelus calls us to pause in our daily routine and turn our thoughts to God, the Blessed Mother, and eternity, and whereas, it being the 107th year anniversary of the Ontario Catholic school system providing Catholic education in the spirit of together in faith, be it resolved that all Halton Catholic District School Board elementary school children at or prior to the lunch bell be led by the teachers in the classroom in the recitation of the Angelus in the format below each and every school day for the months of May and October every year, starting in May 2017. So, I would ask you to pray the Angelus, but I know that we're busy, so it's a minute prayer. So this motion, ready? This motion is about leading children to prayer and devotion. Our Lady of Fatima appeared to 3 children 100 years ago. Leading children to prayer is good. And this motion, when done with faith and love, asks children, guides children to prayer, reflection, a moment of pause in the day to realign on God, like setting a compass for God and Mary. We all need that. The Angelus is a short prayer, just over 1 minute in length, and is a long-standing traditional Catholic vocal prayer. And I don't think the Catechism of the Catholic Church and canon laws were written to keep children away from vocal prayer to Mary. Many points were quoted in the long staff report. Thank you for that. And here's another one. It's number 2704. Because it is external and so thoroughly human, vocal prayer is the form of prayer most readily accessible to groups. Even interior prayer, however, cannot neglect vocal prayer. Prayer is internalized to the extent that we become aware of Him to whom we speak. Thus, vocal prayer becomes an initial form of contemplative prayer. That's the end of the point. All forms of prayer are good and have a purpose. The staff report on devotion and learning about Mary in the curriculum is wonderful. It is fertile soil for the Angelus. Reciting the Angelus will fit right in, underline the curriculum, put into practice, and can readily be adopted by the children. Bishops have delegated the authority to run a Catholic school system to trustees elected in municipal elections, and we hear from OCSTA to promote and protect Catholic education. The burning question here is the evangelization of our youth. Is it operational? Is it governance? The evangelization of our youth is both operational and governance. Reciting the Angelus during 2 months of the year, traditionally given over to Our Lady, is more liturgical as well, following Catholic tradition. By asking the schools and the children to pray the Angelus, this is consistency and unity, which is pedagogical. Everyone has expressed how beautiful and lovely the prayer is. Let's stand behind it. I ask my fellow trustees to say yes to the Angelus, to vote for helping in the evangelization of our youth.
You have 2 minutes left, Trustee Carabella. You have 2 minutes left.
Well, I think I've said what I needed to say.
All right.
Thankful for the comments, and that parents, when we tallied it up, I think by the parents, there were 254 and 244 against, and I think as a trustee too, I'm here to represent parents' wishes, and lots of great comments. I'll pull one later on. Oh, I didn't have my mic on. Sorry.
All right. So, are you concluding your comments at this time?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. All right. So, trustees, we will now have 3 minutes each to comment. So, we can go around the room. Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I had a nice conversation with Trustee Carabella today, and particularly we talked about the grade appropriateness, and of course this is answered by the religion program, in which the bishops have laid out where and when these prayers are appropriate and how to teach them so that they are fully understood by the students. We do know that it is a devotion, and it is, as Trustee Carabella admitted, it is an operational item, and we do give the governance, through our governance, we do give the policy to encourage the teachers to use the prayers and the devotions that they think are appropriate and grade appropriate in their classes. And so I would err on the side of caution in that it's not in our purview to mandate an operational matter in something that is already covered in the program. Thank you.
Thank you. How much time has Trustee Rowe had? 2 minutes? Okay. Vice Chair Triche?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm the seconder on this motion, so I believe in it quite heartily. I think Trustee Carabella has said everything. Thank you.
Thank you. You definitely got quite a bit left. All right. Trustee Murray?
Yeah, no further comments.
No further comments. Trustee Michael? Your microphone, please.
But I do concur with Trustee Rowe. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Intimacy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe Trustee Rowe started off with most of my sentiments, and that given that our bishops outline our curriculum, far be it for me to start meddling in what they see fit for age-appropriate prayer at different times of the year. So I'm going to not be supporting this motion at this time.
Thank you. Trustee Danko, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I just want to reiterate that we've had several debates around the denominational issues and protecting Catholic education in our schools, and that duty is expressly and explicitly granted to the trustees. The trustees are exclusively responsible for protecting Catholic education in our schools, and I believe this motion is precisely the type of motion that we should be voting on at our board table, and I wholly support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustees have had their opportunity to speak, and there is no further discussion. Then I would ask Trustee Carabella to close for 3 minutes, please.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. United in prayer across the elementary schools is a powerful testimony of our Catholicity, to our distinctness, and most importantly, adding to the devotional and prayer life of children and the teachers who lead them. I can see only the benefits of asking children to recite the Angelus in the traditional months of Mary, May and October. It's a devotion that teaches and inspires at the same time. It promotes the integration of faith into the culture as it shows up in an ordinary moment of our day and inserts a moment of pause and turning to God amidst our normal daily events, such as lunch, study, work, play, etc. Saying the Angelus can help to evangelize our youth through Our Lady as a channel of grace. I'd like to thank all the respondents to the survey, and I'd like to finish by quoting one. It says, "This is a wonderful resolution, which I hope will receive widespread support. In this day and age when Catholic education is under fire, we need to continue to ensure that our Catholic schools are different, that we provide our students with a wonderful education that helps them view the world through a Catholic lens. Daily prayer life is part of this, and the Angelus is a lovely devotional traditional prayer that has been overlooked and needs to be reinstated." That's on page 80 of the package. I ask that the trustees support this initiative to honor the Mother of God with the Angelus being prayed in the elementary schools, united across the board to the Mother of God.
And how much time is that? You have a minute left? No? Okay. All right, so are we ready for the vote? All right. Trustee Rowe?
Opposed?
Thank you. Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Thank you. Trustee Danko?
In favor.
Thank you. Trustee Murray?
Opposed.
Trustee Michael?
Opposed.
Trustee Intimacy? Trustee Carabella? Oh, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Trustee Carabella?
Opposed. I mean, in favor, sorry. In favor.
It is 4-3, so the motion is lost. Okay? I'm sorry? Our student trustee does not have a position until September, but we appreciate her being there. This is not so much about faith as pedagogy. anyone who's spent any time in a classroom knows exactly how students learn and when is the best time for teaching them. And we also rely very heavily on our religion and faith program put forth by the bishops of Ontario. So thank you very much to all parents, all stakeholders, all staff, everyone who was kind enough to give their opinions and their responses. And we also thank our staff in communications and research for all the work they did in putting together this particular research package and the evaluation. And we thank all trustees for their work on this particular issue. So we will move on now to Notice of Motion 8.2. Notice of Motion, Transparency and Compensation. Trustee Marai. And Trustee Marai, you'll have 5 minutes. And 3 minutes again for trustees, and then 3 minutes for Trustee Marai. And so I will just, let's just see, we are on page 15 for that. You still with us, Anthony?
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, Trustee Danko? I'm sorry, I can't hear
Seconder.
you. There are people? Yes, I haven't got there yet. I haven't got there, Anthony. I just want to make sure you're still here. I haven't got here. You're here. I'm glad. I really am. Okay, Trustee Marai has moved. We need a seconder. Seconder, Vice Chair Trites. Okay, Trustee Marai, would you like to begin, please?
Sure, I'll read it out. Whereas employee salaries represent the vast majority of the Halton Catholic District School Board budget, whereas trustees are stewards of taxpayer dollars, be it resolved that public consultation occur before any employee group compensation increases occur as allowed under the Education Act. And my commentary, this is a pretty straightforward motion. It's just meant to extend our transparency and provide notice to the public on any across-the-board changes that we want to make to compensation. It deals with both the largest budget item and the fastest-growing budget item, which is compensation. I want to point out that I have heard some feedback from our important stakeholder groups, pointing out that collective bargaining results are made public, and that it's important in public consultation that we do not target any employee group, which I think is a very important part of this. And I think the way this is accomplished, this is not meant to be about union, it's about to be about all non-union and union groups. But I think it's integral that if notice is provided, it's done in a constructive way, which highlights the strong contributions made of our staff. And I would underline that I put in there that if the Education Act does not allow for the public notice, that this motion would obviously not supersede the law of Ontario. Adding this layer of transparency will do well in further informing the public of one of the largest public expenses, and that's the investment made in our world-class education system. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Marai, at how much? You have 2 minutes left? We're finished. All right. All right. So 3 minutes for questions. Comments? Trustee Carabella, would you like to begin? I'm sorry?
I would like to make an amendment, if I may, a friendly amendment.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. In light of the fact that the unions are already what they do and what they bargain for becomes part of the public record, in order to recognize that they have this already, I would ask that they be exempted from this group, if that's the right word I'm using.
All right. All right. So how would you like to phrase that? Are you going down to the last line? Be it resolved?
In order to recognize that unions already as part of their bargaining policies have public consultation. Help me out there.
That would be that any non-union employee group compensation.
Non-union, yes.
So you want this to apply only to non-union? Am I understanding correctly? So be it resolved that public consultation occur before any non-union employee group compensation. Is that what you want to say? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
The unions are already part part of the public record, so leave them out.
So I'm open to that as a friendly amendment. If it's the will of the board, I'd like to hear comments.
Okay,
but certainly
can I just make sure that we've got this right?
Sure.
Be it resolved that public consultation occur before any non-union employee group compensation increases occur as allowed under the Education Act. Is that? That's fine. Okay. Okay, so that's moved by Trustee Michael, and you have a seconder? Vice Chair Trites? Okay. All right, so let's talk to the amendment. Did you wish to say anything more, Trustee Michael?
No.
Okay. Trustee Marai, you looked as though you had something to say. Did you want to say? You okay? All right. Trustee Intomasi?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Could we get some perspective on this from Mr. O'Hara, seeing how this is his portfolio, and I'd just kind of like to get a little backgrounder on here. Thank you.
Mr. O'Hara?
Thank you, and through you. I do appreciate that there has been an amendment to the motion. This really falls under the School Board Collective Bargaining Act for unionized groups, where, again, unions bargain to a memorandum of settlement and then take that to their members for ratification. Similarly, again, this is a central term issue, compensation, so trustees associations would also take that memorandum of settlement back to school boards for approval. That has to happen in camera, and then once it's approved, then it would then be announced publicly. But certainly there is not room to go and take union settlements and take it into the public forum until after ratification has taken place. To do that would be essentially backdate bargaining and could result in labor board issues. With respect to the non-union group, there already is a regulation which requires for executive compensation, that being senior staff, superintendents of the director, a requirement to have public consultation. So really what you're looking for this particular amendment is a very finite number of staff, which would be made up of from clerical, non-union, through officers to supervisors, managers, etc. And we do have information in terms of what that count would be. But what I would say to you is that it's a very small group. And as I said, it's important for you to know that for executive compensation, it's already there. There has to have the public consultation for senior staff. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Trustee Carabella?
Thank you. Through Madam Chair, I'd like to know what public consultation looks like. Is it a memo?
We've just sort of seen it in our survey.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering. So would be sent out as an email to all our parents? I'm just trying to visualize what public consultation means. Sure. Thank you.
Mr. O'Hara?
Thank you, and through you. I can describe what public consultation looks like in terms of a reg for the regulation requirement for senior staff, and that would be that certainly trustees would again need to approve and then post whatever the amounts are on the board's public site, so that it's accessible to the public. So it has to be posted on the public site what the compensation changes are for senior executives of the board.
Follow up, and then Trustee Murray.
Thank you. So that means that we already vote on it, and that once we vote it, then it goes public. It doesn't go public and then we get feedback and then we vote. Go ahead.
Again, there has to be public consultation first with feedback, and then you would approve it. Thank you. Thank you.
That's what this motion is asking for.
Again, excuse me. That's what the regulation currently requires for the executive compensation. And again, that information will be coming forward to you in more detail in September.
Trustee Marai, and then Trustee...
Sorry, Madam Chair, I wanted to speak to the main motion, not the amendment. We're still on the...
We're working on the amendment right now, so you want to speak to the main motion. Trustee Intomasi wants to speak to the amendment or the main motion?
Okay, I just need a little more clarification from what
Okay.
Mr. O'Hara was saying, because if I'm hearing him right, as I understand it, under Reg 4, it's already going out for consultation. So then it's coming back, and then we're going to send it back out for consultation? It just sounds redundant to me to go out a second time.
Again, through the chair, in terms of how this particular motion could or would be applied, I think you would have to read it into what the regulation says, and the regulation, again, for senior executives requires public consultation, to which we have to follow. So we would be following the regulation in terms of how that would work. Again, and all I can do is assume that would satisfy Trustees Marai's motion with respect to at least the executive portion. Thank you.
Trustee Danko, you're very quiet. Do you have anything?
Yeah, thanks for recognizing me, Madam Chair. I'm just a little confused as to the talk about the regulation. Is there a regulation in the works? Has it been published already? Does it deal with this issue? And what is the number of the regulation?
We'll ask Executive Officer O'Hara to respond to that, please.
Again, thank you, and through you. There is a regulation. It has been revised a number of times, and just more recently, this past month was updated. I can get you the citation. Certainly, I'll have to just look it up, and I can certainly provide you with that citation.
Do you have a follow-up, or did you hear that appropriately, Trustee Danko?
I did, Madam Chair. If you could ask that speakers use their microphones. I'm not sure if they are or not. I did hear what Superintendent O'Hara said, that there's a regulation being updated now. I guess, does it deal with Trustee Marai's motion?
Okay, the Director's going to answer that.
Just for clarification, the Regulation 304, which is called the Executive Compensation Framework, is only for superintendents and the director. I think Mr. O'Hara was trying to describe what public consultation would look like under that framework. I think what Trustee Marai is asking is that we do a similar thing that what we've done in past for notices of motion or things that we go out and we ask the public for their feedback, and then we bring a report back to the board. This particular motion, as amended, is only applying to one particular employee group if Trustee Michael's amendment is approved. It would only apply to the non-union. It would only apply to non-union employees if her amendment passes.
So I'll just speak to it now because everyone's speaking outside the amendment anyway. So let's be very clear. Currently what goes out for public consultation is what, 12 individuals? 12 individuals or something like that for it. What I'm asking for is for public consultation. So we already dealt with the union issue because I think there are concerns over a redundancy in that and the fact that there's already public disclosure. What I'm asking for is for an extension of not just executive compensation, but there are over 300 employees representing millions of dollars of budget, salary budget per year that is spent by this board. And all I'm asking for is if we make across the board changes to that entire group of hundreds of people, the second largest outside of any union group, we just go out and inform the public and provide some feedback. It's not one group within that. It's a broad group of individuals, not targeting one specifically.
All right. Jerry, you don't have anything else? Okay, thank you, Trustee Marai. We do have Vice Chair Trites now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I guess I would just need clarification, Superintendent O'Hara, about basically, will this amendment cover everybody in terms of transparency and getting consultation back where we can? Please.
Again, through the chair, with the amendment taking union groups out, it would apply to all non-union staff, and we can certainly go and get public consultation. It is a small group of employees that this will affect. Thank you.
Any other conversations toward the amendment?
Just to clarify, small, but in the hundreds.
329. 329. Yes, absolutely.
Just in general, the groupings are school chaplains, some continuing ed instructors, psychologists, social worker, senior administrators of IPHR facilities, administrators, managers, supervisors, officers, youth settlement workers, administrative assistants, and HR assistants. Just put categories on them.
All right. So we have everyone's questions answered. We sort of went away from our 3 minutes, but seems as though everyone's had their questions answered. So we're going to vote on the amendment. Was there anything else, Trustee Danko, before we vote?
Madam Chair, if we have 300 employees that would fall under public scrutiny, how many employees would not be included? What's our total?
Total number, 329 employees are the ones we're talking about. And total employees, Joe?
Again, through the chair, we have approximately 4,400 employees, just under 4,500 employees.
So we're looking at 329 out of 4,000?
Just under 4,500 employees currently.
Just under 4,500.
Okay, so we'd be putting under public scrutiny 329 out of 4,500.
That's basically it, yes. Trustee Murray?
I'll just start off by saying and preface it, which is, okay, there's public scrutiny under the collective bargaining process, one. Number two, the province of Ontario is responsible for bargaining with the unions, and they are responsible at the end of the day with whatever deal comes out of that. We are responsible directly, trustees are responsible for the salaries within that group of 300 plus individuals. So the difference is the responsibility lies with the province, and in this case, the responsibility lies directly with the trustees around this table. Those are the only people accountable. That's the difference.
All right, so we're ready for the vote on the amendment. Yes? And you did have a seconder for your amendment, didn't you, Vice Chair Trites? Okay, thank you. Well, we have that. All right, so we are just voting on the amendment, and that will be the last line, be it resolved that public consultation occur before any non-union employee group compensation increases occur as allowed under the Education Act. So we're ready to take the vote. Trustee Rowe, forgot your name for a minute.
Okay. Opposed.
Opposed. Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Trustee Michael? In favor. Trustee Intimacy? In favor. Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Danko?
Opposed?
Opposed. So what's the 5 to 2? It passes. All right, so that's the amendment. Now we are going back to the main motion, which is we have to give Trustee Murray 3 minutes to close, but I don't know if you want it. No?
No, all I would say, I just reiterate what I said,
Okay.
which is the responsibility for this group of individuals only lies with us. No one else will provide this transparency. The province of Ontario is responsible for everything else. This is why I'm asking for this extra layer of public consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. So the resolution reads, whereas employee salaries represent the vast majority of the Halton Catholic District School Board budget, whereas trustees are stewards of taxpayer dollars, be it resolved that public consultation occur before any non-union employee group compensation increases occur as allowed under the Education Act. Trustee Rowe?
Opposed.
Thank you. Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Trustee Michael?
In favor.
Trustee Intomasi?
Opposed?
Trustee Carabella?
Opposed.
So what's that there? Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee Danko.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I don't support having 0.07% of our employees fall into this category, so I'm opposed.
So you're opposed. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
4-3 opposed. Okay, so it fails. All right? Okay, so thank you, Trustee Murray. Now we are going on to 8.2. 8.2, which...
It's me.
I know it's you. I know. Which is moved by Transparency and Compensation, moved by Trustee Murray, seconded by Trustee Vice Chair Trites. Thank you. All right. Okay.
This one's secondary school robotics program funding.
Yes, 8.3. Secondary school robotics. Okay, Trustee Murray.
Okay, I'm thrilled to
3
bring
minutes.
this forward to the board. Whereas the Halton Catholic District School Board is committed to expanding options for students in STEM fields, whereas Holy Trinity Catholic Secondary School has demonstrated tremendous success in their extracurricular robotics program, whereas this robotics program encourages students to graduate into high-value educational streams, whereas the total cost of building the robots and the cost of the competition is in excess of $15,000 per year, whereas the minimum cost for registration at regional competitions is $7,500 per team, whereas students and staff can only spend a portion of time fundraising for extracurricular activities. Be it resolved, the Halton Catholic District School Board funds $7,500 per Halton Catholic School District school robotic program annually to those secondary schools that apply. And Madam Chair, I'm thrilled to bring this forward because of the tremendous success that Holy Trinity has seen with this program, which you have all seen at this board with their presentation. Half of all students graduate into engineering programs after high school. Girls are better represented than in other STEM clubs or other clubs in a school. Students of all ages work in a collaborative approach. Students who graduate from the program have actually come back from university to mentor those same students. In fact, in past years, the first robotics competition course has been a credit-earning course at this board. I think that one of the questions that may come up in the discussion is concerns funding one club over another, and this I want to deal with this directly. If a club exists which promotes STEM learning, which graduates a disproportionate amount of students into engineering, where students graduate from jobs in demand industries with six-figure salaries, then I want this board to fund those clubs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that is less than 3 minutes, but less than 5 minutes, I should say, but that's fine. Comments, questions from trustees. Did I not have a second? You had Susan. Trustee Danko, do you have a question for Trustee Murray?
No, I support the motion, thank you.
Support the motion, no comments? Okay. Then we'll go to Trustee Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just first of all, I thought it was odd that Trustee Trites supported it, since this is a new initiative, and she wants to get rid of it in the next motion. Just a question about the timing about this and how it fits into the budget. Like, why did we not put this into the budget earlier so it could be worked in properly rather than at the last minute?
No, so actually, Trustee Rowe, I did mention this after the presentation was made, and actually had informal talks with the director about seeing where we could find money for it, understanding that the director and all her staff have a tremendous amount of work on other initiatives that they're dealing with. I thought the reason for this timing is specifically for the start of the school year. Speaking with the Holy Trinity team, I understand that they need to get their proposals in by December. So if we can have this funding outlined, which by the way is not mandatory, we're not just handing money to every school, it's only if they can get themselves together, they would be able to make the necessary proposals to the competition in December. So it happens to be on this date, on the budget date, but really this is about the next school year and trying to see if any other schools, and certainly Holy Trinity, can see if they can use this funding. And I also want to comment on your other comment, which was on new initiatives. And I'd just like to clarify with Trustee Trites if her notice of motion deals specifically with the new initiatives mentioned in the budget, which is specifically called new initiatives, versus ad hoc notices of motion which come up throughout the year. So a bit of clarification on that would be helpful.
I think you're pushing that one. Okay. Vice Chair Trites, you want to talk to that?
I'd like to speak to the motion for the many reasons that Trustee Morais said, especially about attracting our young ladies and young men in this. I don't think there'll be a run on this. Like Trustee Morais said, they have to fill some pretty stringent conditions. And I do think it is an ad hoc initiative, and I'm concerned with the cushion we don't have in our budget, that going forward, it's a good thing we did it now and not later.
Thank you.
If I may, just for clarification, it would not be included in one of your it would not be considered under the new initiatives of your motion.
No, it wouldn't be, and with the cushion that we don't seem to have in our budget, we probably couldn't do something like this and give it serious consideration. So I applaud your timing.
Trustee Michael?
I support the motion. I support Trustee Morais' motion.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Intomasi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do support the motion. I do support the initiative. My concern, of course, does go to funding, and my concern goes to, other clubs that may come forward. But I really like the technology part of this, and I really think there's serious interest for certain students out there, and they can get great success with it. And I think to be competitive in the time we live in, we really do need to have this kind of thing, albeit, it's the money thing, but overall I do support it.
Thank you. Trustee Carabella?
Thank you. I have some questions. So how are the funds, how have the clubs been funded up to now?
Trustee Murray?
Thanks for the question. 100% with fundraising. So it costs. So in some years, Holy Trinity has provided in the low thousands of dollars, funding to that specific club. But let's be clear, that's not consistent funding that happens every year. Secondly, in the case of Holy Trinity, the cost of the actual registration is $7,500. The cost to build one robot is at least another $7,500. They've spent upwards of $20,000 on this program and have had to fundraise over $10,000 per year. So you take our hardworking teachers, you take the students who are already in a bunch of other classes, and you're saying they need to also fundraise $10,000 to $15,000 per year. It makes it insurmountable. And the funny thing is, I brought up when they presented to the board the fact that they're so good at getting corporate sponsorships. They had Ford and others provided, and they put their logos on the robots themselves. And I show up at Holy Trinity when they're having a day to fundraise with Ford cars, when you drive them around, and I see the Halton Catholic District School Board's logo is on there. And I said, "Oh, that's great. How much do we provide for you?" Nothing. So this is a perfect example as to why we should fund this wonderful initiative and expand it throughout our board.
Thank you. Superintendent Pinelli.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to clarify, because I have gone back through 3 years of Holy Trinity financials on funding this initiative. First and foremost, let's put it on the record. This is a co-curricular activity, just like many other co-curricular activities that we offer in our schools. I want to go on record very clearly that the school budget did support this initiative. And it wasn't every year that this initiative, as you claim, or you've been informed, that they needed $15,000. In fact, some years, they only needed $5,000. And in fact, I've analyzed, along with the principal, the various costs that have been expensed to this, and they're not exactly all going to robotics. So let's be perfectly clear in terms of the comment that no one funded this initiative. That is not the case. In fact, it has been supported, and we also should be very grateful, you're correct, that we've had many corporate sponsorships that continue to support the initiative, and that they willingly are doing that. No one is holding them to or forcing them to be part of this. They want to be part of it, to be recognized. So the comment that they haven't been supported, that's not accurate.
No, just a minute, please. Tony Pinelli.
So as much as the initiative is great, and we are all in support of this, it is a co-curricular activity. We must remember that we have many co-curricular activities that are supported through the school, through various teachers' initiatives, and also student interests. So as much as we say, yes, this is a great initiative, there are probably another 25 in the wing ready to come forward asking for support. And so how do we start distinguishing one over the other?
Thank you. Trustee Murray?
I want to answer those points of the superintendent. I appreciate your comments, Superintendent Pinelli, because you're right, the school specifically gave the money, not the Halton Catholic District School Board, not from our budget. But there was support made, so it's a fair comment. But I want to bring up a couple of other things, just so that trustees understand how much it costs. To register for one competition, it now costs $7,500. So maybe in past years it was a lot less. Now it is $7,500, and that's without ever even building a robot, right? So then they have to go out to get that as well. And I guess I want to just reiterate what I said at the very beginning, because you brought up the good point. There's a lot of very good clubs at our school.
Anthony? Hello? Hi, Anthony. So Anthony Danko is on the phone also. Welcome, and we are on item 8.3, Secondary School Robotics Program Funding, and Trustee Murray has the floor right now. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead, Paul.
Good timing, Anthony. So I want to answer that question head on. If there are clubs at the school which promote STEM learning, which come out of the community with teachers volunteering their time, where students are disproportionately graduating into engineering and high-skilled courses, right, where students are coming back to the schools and mentoring our students, we should be funding these initiatives. But and to STEM fields that do well. The fact of the matter is, there is not a laundry list of these clubs that exist. That's what makes this so unique and special. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I think you've had your closing 3 minutes.
I have one other comment.
Okay, well, just a minute. I have a question. To Superintendent Pinelli, when we talk about the funding, it was distinguished a few minutes ago, school versus board. Can you tell me, was that school-raised money, or was that money that came from the board?
A combination. So that's what I do want to clarify. The money that the schools receive from us centrally, that's money that's coming from the board. How else are the schools getting that money? So it was a combination of fundraising, school board money. So they are being supported.
Do you have any idea roughly as to how much money the board provided?
And that would it varies between the different years. If we go back 3 years, as I said initially, the amount of money that was going to this co-curricular was minimal. It was about $5,600, $5,800. Now we have obviously grown the program, this co-curricular, that they have grown it, and now they are wanting to enter, and therefore this $7,500 is for registration. that's where the registration and the additional costs are coming in just to compete.
Thank
But
you.
up to this point, up to this year, that's not what was in any of the budgets and any of the expenses.
Thank you. Trustee Murray, you wanted to make one more comment?
And I'll be very quick, because I appreciate the time that we took for this motion. But I just want to say that this is a Halton Catholic District School Board success story. It didn't come from the Ministry of Education. It was homegrown at our board from one of our schools, and I think that we should get behind it as it's a model of what we can do at other schools around our system. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Intomasi, and then I will ask Trustee Danko and Trustee Quinn if they have something to say, and then we'll take the vote.
Thank you. So you, Madam Chair, to Superintendent Pinelli. So if the amounts have been fluctuating from year to year, and we passed this motion where it's saying $7,500, so what you're maybe suggesting is in the past they could have conceivably gotten more than $7,500. So if we pass this, that's all they're going to get, because this will then stop the flow, if I'm understanding this correctly, this will stop any flow that's currently going to the school that the school uses, at their discretion. What I'm really afraid of now is that if we just have $7,500 there, if more money in the past could go to them, that this will end that and it'll be capped off at $7,500.
Again, the $7,500 will be thrown into the pot along with all the corporate sponsorship. Will they need all that money? It'll all depend if they enter their robotics in any kind of competition. If they do not enter any competition, that money will not be needed, because we know that historically that they did not enter competitions, and that kind of money was not required on a yearly basis.
So we could then have, if we do decide to have the $75, it would be applied for and signed off by a superintendent. That would be a control?
That could be a control.
Okay. Vice Chair Trites and then Director?
Through you, Madam Chair. Trustee Intomasi, was that your answer from Superintendent Pinelli, that whatever has been given in the past at the school level will continue to be given should this motion pass, plus the $7,500? I'm sorry, I missed that. Was that what you were asking?
What you're asking is to give them $7,500 plus additional corporate sponsorship, plus additional school budget, which the school may not need if they're not entering a competition.
Okay, so just breaking it down where the funding is coming from, we understand the corporate sponsorship, let's leave that out. So we're now coming down to additional funding of $7,500 should they enter competition. But does it affect whatever the school is contributing? If they don't need it, they don't get it. But where are the funds going to come from first, I suppose?
You're trying to anticipate, and you're mandating that they enter competitions every year. Because if you don't enter competitions, you won't need all that money.
Okay, so if they do, this motion makes available $7,500. If they don't this year, or they don't next year, we won't be giving money that's not needed. Yes?
Thank you. Okay, agreed. All right. Trustee Danko, Trustee Quinn, would you like to add any comments?
I'm okay at this point, Madam Chair. I can still support the motion.
Thank you. Trustee Quinn? Trustee Quinn? I'm sorry, we're not hearing you. Trustee Quinn? Can you at least tell us if you're in favor of the motion or not? Trustee Quinn, can you tell us if you're in favor of the motion?
I am in favor of the motion.
Thank you. Thank you, that's all I need. Thank you. All right. Did you have anything else, Trustee Quinn? Trustee Carabella.
I just wanted to know, so currently it's just the one high school? Are we looking at more high schools, or is this motion reflective to one Holy Trinity? Everyone's talking about Holy Trinity.
It's the entire point of the motion is to expand it throughout the system.
It would be for every school. We don't discriminate between our schools. If one gets it, they all get it. All right. Trustee Superintendent Pinelli.
That's correct. Currently, again, I want to reemphasize, and I keep coming back to this, this is a co-curricular activity that is run by one teacher at Holy Trinity. The expectation that other schools and other teachers will, in fact, take this initiative on, time will tell. And again, it depends on the teacher's comfort and the ability to volunteer for a co-curricular activity.
Thank you. So are we ready for the vote? Yes, Trustee Intomasi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for the indulgence. My concern is that, if they just apply for it, they get I just want to know what kind of criteria would be in place if they're applying. Does the $7,500 come after the corporate funding? Does it come before the corporate funding? Perhaps Trustee Marai has some thoughts on that aren't reflected in here, because my concern is that somebody applies for the $7,500 and doesn't end up using it, or the program falls apart halfway through, and we've just flushed money down the sewer and it's not going to get used as we intended.
Fair comment. So the motion specifically refers to the minimum cost of the regional competition. To provide further clarity, obviously that $7,500 would be if they do register for a competition. I think it kind of infers that to it, but I think, if they don't apply, they're not going to have a team anyway, and there's no point of the club even starting, because the whole point of the team is to produce robots that compete in these competitions.
Could we build some kind of a procedure in behind this, so that and perhaps staff could come together with something if we end up approving this, so that we see how the money gets dispersed, so that we have a little more control over how it goes?
As long as it encourages these clubs and not discourages them.
It would be up to senior staff to put a procedure, an administrative procedure and accountability controls in it, and sign off on it, so that we know that it's not wasted or used before you get the corporate sponsorship, so that the money is safe. Madam Director?
Madam Chair, when a school wants to start up a robotics program, the $7,500, if they showed us their receipt for the entry fee into that competition, then we could reimburse the school. Then we know they're serious about entering.
Okay, thank you. So we are ready for the vote. I think that both our Antonys have voted in favor of it, as far as I could tell. Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Thank you. Trustee Intomasi?
In favor.
Trustee Michael?
In favor.
Trustee Marai?
In favor.
Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Trustee Burrow?
In favor.
All right. So that one is done. And yes, they're both in favor. So now we will go to number 8.4. We're just moving along at snail's pace here. Notice of motion for the 2017-2018 budget without new initiatives. Vice Chair Trites.
Do we need a mover and a seconder?
Oh, yes. I'm just getting there. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Well, you are the mover, and the seconder would be?
I will second it.
Was that Trustee Danko?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be concise and brief, rather like the motion itself. So budget pressures continue, with sick leave trends continuing to rise. We have a benefits funding gap because of a yearly 4% increase. Repair and maintenance of our aging schools. Transition costs to the employee life and health trusts. Increased transportation costs. And of course, always there'll be ad hoc and additional operating expenses, which will be identified by senior staff throughout the 2017-2018 year. Having the cushion that is expected on a $394 million budget is realistically no cushion at all. Yesterday, Halton Catholic District School Board received news from the Ministry of Education about our successful MPAR concerning St. Joseph and St. James School in Oakville. 2017-2018 will see us review our secondary schools for consolidations, as well as Burlington south of the QEW. Burlington north of the QEW is also up for consolidation considerations. We are asking our communities within our Halton region to be with us as we make crucial changes to our community schools. And yet in this extraordinary budget year ahead of us, we continue to spend on new initiatives. In our governance capacity, the Board of Trustees must approve the yearly budget, and we will do this tonight. As a Board of Trustees, stewardship involves us to be forward-looking, to be careful, and to be responsible. I would also add that stewardship also asks us to be prudent and to be patient. We are continuously being asked to do more with the same amount of monies, and unfortunately sometimes to do more with less amounts of monies. I would like to thank the many people involved in our business office, senior staff, of course our Director of Education, and all the many others who work continuously and tirelessly to bring us our budget information. I really don't know how you do it all, but I do want to thank you very much. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the proposed 2017-2018 budget without the aforementioned new initiatives, and staff do propose them in a future budget cycle when financial pressures subside. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. I think you're well within your 5 minutes. All right. So any trustee like to talk further? Who did we get to second that? Oh yes, right. I forgot. Okay. Anyone wish to speak to this? Trustee Michael?
Through you, Madam Chair, to Trustee Trites. If, or maybe you don't know the answer, I'm not sure. If you were to take out the new initiatives, although the budget is balanced with the new initiatives, and they had to approve one of them for some reason or other, would we not have to dip into the operating reserve for this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Currently, the budget in the next item includes all the new initiatives, and it is going to be a trustee's approval in terms of whether all, none, some will make it in. But as we currently stand, the budget is balanced with a small surplus. So just to confirm your question, to clarify, you're saying if none of them go in currently, but through the year something occurs and we need to add, then yes, it will be an addition to the expenses. So if nothing goes in right now, it goes into the operating reserve. That's all that happens. So the expenses will be reduced and the amount goes into the operating reserve funds. And at the revised estimates, we may go back and determine where we are, and that's where we would come from, unless there's additional growth or other items that would happen in between.
So, just to confirm, it is passed, the budget is passed now, is balanced with the new initiatives with a small surplus.
That's correct.
All right.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this? Trustee Calver-Ball?
Yes, I'm in favor of this motion. I do like the fact of separating so that you are able to vote that they're not both put together. I think it's reasonable to do that. I like voting on things one at a time, not grouping everything together. So I could support this motion.
Thank you. Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have great confidence in the treasurer in balancing the budget, which we have done every year. We do have money in reserve, which is part of the budget process. And the money that's not put into reserve, the reason that we get this money in the GSNs from the ministry is to spend it on the students next year who are in school. So next year's money is meant to be spent on the students to help run the board more efficiently and to improve their educational experience. So saving it up for some future date when it's not necessary, we're already saving a huge chunk, I think defeats the purpose. So I would not support the motion because this money is meant to be used for the students that are in the school this year or next year.
Thank you. Trustee Quinn, Trustee Danko?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Trustee Danko?
Yes, I support the motion. I just was wondering, there was I thought when this motion was submitted as a notice, there was more text that listed the new initiatives, but I guess we're presuming that's all part of this text. I just don't see the whole thing in the package. Further to this, every budget presentation that we had in April and May when the budget was being presented listed pressures. So there were pressures on the budget. Now I don't see pressures all of a sudden today or in the last version of the budget, the last iteration of the budget that was presented to us. So I think that with none of these items being required, that we can defer these until the next cycle. So I would support Trustee Trice's motion.
Thank you. Is Trustee Quinn there?
I am. I have questions at this.
Yes, do you have anything that you would like to comment on or ask with regard to 8.4, the budget with new initiatives, or would you like to give us your position?
No, I have no comments right now. Thank you.
And your vote? Trustee
Any others votes?
No, we haven't done votes. We're still talking. Are you going to stay around for a little while? Because we lost you before.
Yes, that was a loud room, but no.
Okay, fine, thank you. All right, so any other comments with regard to that? Yes.
To you, Madam Chair, in the new initiatives, when Trustee Trice brought forward this notice of motion at the last meeting, senior staff went back because we want to take into consideration her thoughts about having a cushion. So senior staff proposed that initiatives 8 and 9 and 6 could be deferred, but the other ones we felt very strongly about that we needed those to happen in this upcoming school year. So in order to compromise, we thought, well, what could come off the table? So the specific ones, and I believe I've sent the rationale to trustees and through over the week, we would defer the records coordinator. We would defer the electronic file project, as well as the Museum of Tolerance, to defer it for later. And when you add up all of these savings, it turns out that an ongoing investment of $275,000 is the ask, as opposed to $590,000 from the last budget go round, last time we met. So I'm just putting that on the table for trustees' consideration, that we went back and we looked at what was really, really necessary, and that was what we proposed.
So the director has deferred ballpark half of what? Sorry? Go ahead, Roxana.
A number of them are one-time. The deferral amounts to about $135,000. Some being deferred, and some we'll try to do within current means if we could. For example, to help with the records management if we can. However, $180,000 is a one-time expense, and the balance of 275 will be the ongoing investment. We are a growing system, and I would like to mention that there's risks and there's gaps that we need to fill. It doesn't have to be a mandated or legislative requirement to be a requirement for the board. We have to manage risk. There's a number of gaps. If we look at the equity officer, for example, all we need is one occurrence in the system that is not handled properly because we don't have a consistent framework that is being driven and led and instilled within all of our system. It is a big risk. It's a gap that we have, and I strongly encourage trustees to look through the requirements. If they were not important, they would not be in front of you today. We have a $400 million budget. This is an ask of $275,000. At the end of the day, that is an ongoing requirement. If you look at a couple of the other ones, they would have the reasoning as to why they're important, and we have discussed them since April. They are very important. They're gaps in the systems, and they're mitigating risk. I'd like to be on the record that staff are highly recommending you consider them for the next budget year. And yes, we do have concerns and pressures in the budget, and we always do. We're publicly funded. We don't have a lot of money to be sitting around in reserve. That's not how the funding works. We're funded for needs. We are the lowest funded board, and we manage with what we have, and we manage because we're efficient. We're also fortunate to be a growing board, to have very efficient staffing ratios and class size ratios and growing schools. That saves us money, that allows us to save money and manage within our small per pupil funding. It is the nature of the situation. We will have challenges. We'll have challenges next year, and we've been very fortunate this year that we were able to get staffing enhancements from the labor agreement. They have been closing many gaps with funding, which in the past, it hasn't always happened. So there were a lot more pressures in prior years than they ended up in this year.
Madam, I have a question.
Yes, Trustee Quinn?
Thank you. Through you to the director, would the director be willing to consult and bring her recommended equity officer to the board for approval?
You want the director to bring the recommended equity officer to the board for approval. Is that correct?
That's right. Thank you.
The person, the job? Are you talking about the hiring of this person? Trustee Quinn?
Yes, thank you. I'm talking hiring of the director to bring her recommended candidate to us for approval.
So that would not be appropriate.
Madam Chair, could you let the director answer that question, please?
Yes, absolutely. I'm just reading her from a distance here. Go ahead, Madam Director.
Madam Chair, this would be outside the purview of the board. I am the sole employee, so I would be the person that would be hiring all staff. I'd be happy to share the person's qualifications and experience and the manner in which they would support the board once that person is hired, but no other times would I bring someone like that for approval before the board.
You have your answer, Trustee Quinn. Did you have a further question?
Thank you. I'm supporting Trustee Treck's motion.
Okay, thank you. I'll put that down. I have a question. The Empower program, is that in or out? No. Half of our children get remedial assistance in reading, and half do not, and that is totally unacceptable. The Empower program has to be in. And how much is that costing us? Is it revenue neutral? Neutral, whatever?
Through you, Madam Chair, if I may. Superintendent Brown and I have been working together on this, and we've been able to, through the contingency funds for the superintendents, have been able to collaborate and find a way to cover this for our schools. And we are looking at a 2-year plan. We want to ensure that all of our schools
have the opportunity to identify appropriate staff for training, and we have been able to elicit the participation of a number of schools for September, and will be able to purchase the programming. The programming is $2,500 per kit, and the training is $2,500. So we've been able to create a 2-year plan to ensure that it will be in all of our schools within 2 years. And now this is not just a financial consideration. It is also a consideration to ensure that the schools in question and staff in question are in full support, have time for training, and are able to accommodate their schedules. So we have adjusted our plan not just for financial considerations, but in consultation with our SO colleagues as well as administrators as to how to proceed in a most prudent fashion to ensure everyone's compliance and participation in a very appropriate way as we move forward for our students.
All right, so you're satisfied that it's going to take 2 years, but that's required training. The Empower program is for students that are having difficulty reading in the class, for students who cannot keep up, and it's outright immoral not to do something about that as a school board. We can talk about robotics, we can talk about all these other things, but if we're not helping our children read, then we shouldn't be here. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I could be confused on this, I probably am, but I understand the Empower program to be an additional tool to help with reading and comprehension, and definitely that's where we are with this. Necessary for some, good for others. So I guess I'm saying I'm not sure that the urgency, if it's another tool, and we will get there, that would just be my point. Another reflection on it.
Through you, Madam Chair. It is certainly, and I welcome Superintendent Brown to participate in the conversation, but from our perspective, we have found from a research perspective it to be one of the most successful reading early intervention programs to date. We certainly have had numerous literacy support programs in our schools and early intervention programs in our schools that are certainly effective, and we are not suggesting that they are not. However, we have to look at our learners in very specific ways. So some programs are better suited to some learners than they are others, whereas we're finding that Empower has the most successful results. Having said that, it is very important to know that it is a very stringent program, and it adheres to a very specific timeline and commitment on behalf of our staff. So, for example, if we are unable, it is through Sick Children's Hospital, they do monitor the program and do frequent check-ins. If we are not meeting the timelines that they require with regard to our intervention and have interruptions and have delays and have times wherein we cannot provide the appropriate programming due to unforeseen circumstances, and right now these programs are being delivered by our special education resource teachers, and this is very taxing in a school where there is one special education resource teacher, and that is something that we are trying to address from a staffing perspective to ensure that the program is successful. So there's a lot of thinking beyond financial that goes into the program, but we must say that the research supports this as to be one of the most significant programs that we have seen in a long time, and one that we want to commit to. And of course, equity is extremely important. Equity of access for all of our students is integral, but it is not to malign any other early intervention reading programs, and we do have an understanding that we have financial commitments and interest with regard to meeting those expectations, but also understanding that we want our staff on board, and we want them to understand the commitment we're making, and we also want to take a look at our schools to ensure that we are staffing appropriately so that this program can be delivered with fidelity and integrity as intended.
Thank you. Superintendent Brown?
To date, we have, as of this year, we have 17 of our elementary schools who were not utilizing Empower, so 29 of our schools are. So we were talking about a 2-year program, and we've been working on this for some time, but certainly over the last couple of weeks after meeting with principals, and we are well on our way to meeting that goal over 2 years with getting online more schools and more commitments from principals. It is factoring in both financial and logistical issues, but the key idea is really that the Empower program is focused on early intervention, so unlocking reading, and once that is unlocked for a student, everything else opens up. So, every other subject really is contingent on the ability to read and comprehend. So that's what the focus is. We like the results that we're seeing. It's not as simple as just saying we need more money for it and therefore it's going to be in every school. So our approach thus far, we're fairly confident in our our ability to move this forward over this next 2 years because of the support that we've had over the last week and the commitment of some of those 17 schools that are yet to get on board and make a commitment moving forward. And we've got our schedule for training for the 28th and 29th of September to be starting in the new school year.
So do you need any of this money that is currently under do you need any of this money that's currently under discussion to move forward with your plans?
We listened very carefully to the conversations around the table here. We feel so strongly in the program that we were planning on making it happen, regardless of the decisions made. We'll do the best we can with what we have, with what the money that are at the school, how we partner with schools. So we are always happy to receive money because it certainly helps, but we're going to make it happen regardless.
I don't like it when you said we'll do it the best we can. You can do it.
We can do it.
Okay. Trustee Rowe, thank you. Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is just an example of this blanket motion throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The public needs to know that we had several trustee sessions on the budget. Each of these items was presented to us. That was the chance that we had to ask for it to be removed, or not removed, or stay, and all of this went forward. Now, at the last minute, this motion just going to throw it all to one side, whereas we've already been through all of this. We've spent hours talking about this already, and no one said, no, definitely take that out. They questioned it, staff responded to it, and that was the end of it. So I don't understand this last-minute decision just to throw it all out when we've gone through all of this. The public needs to know that we've gone through all of this. This isn't just foisted on the trustees. All of this was carefully explained to us so that we understood it and that we could take it apart and then decide if it would stay in. And that was our chance to speak. And no one spoke until this time to remove it. So these initiatives are worthwhile initiatives. Okay, I'm surprised that Trustee Carabella not supporting the Museum of Tolerance when she's the one who wanted that we put extra effort into our school curriculum to make sure that this is recognized. But we're just throwing it out. We're not going to get involved with it. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. This half bits. Like if we went through it step by step and took out this one and this one and this one for various reasons. I know some of the other trustees are opposed to this specific one and that specific one. Fine. That's fine. And that's great. But to throw the baby out with the bathwater is ridiculous and a waste of time.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any other comments before we go to a vote? Vice Chair Trice, you want to close?
I would say, just in response to Trustee Rowe, I think that's a broad statement that I'll refer to what we received on Sunday. Under the reasoning, it's very well put together, and I'm grateful to have it, but that's not the sort of information, broadly speaking, that we've been given. But I take your bigger point about it's all or nothing. I don't worry about if there's money going back into the operating reserves that we're not going to be able to spend that next year. I think we go back to our budget pressures, and especially the operating expenses that we don't know about, to have those funds there. I would also say with the cushion that we have on a $394 million budget, besides the fact it's really no cushion at all, I would say we're one bus route away, and we're going to be making these decisions as we go through the year anyways. With the extra information that we have now received at the 11th hour, there's certainly room in the year to come to look at these on an ad hoc basis. So I would say in closing, governance, stewardship, prudence, and patience. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Trustee. Vice Chair Trice. Trustee Quinn, you are voting in favor of the motion, I believe, and Trustee Danko? Could you confirm that, please?
Trustee Quinn, of the motion.
In favor, did you say? I'm sorry, Anthony, you're breaking up. In favor?
Try again. Favor.
In favor? Trustee Danko?
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Okay, thank you. We will finish off this one, and then we will, go on to the next one. Okay, Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Intomasi?
Opposed.
Trustee Michael?
Opposed.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
I will vote 2 on this one. I'm opposed. Trustee Vice Chair Trice?
In favor.
Trustee Rowe?
Opposed.
5 to 4 in favor.
Okay, then it passes. All right. So that passes, gentlemen. Okay, now we are going to 8.5, Trustee Danko. That is the 2017-2018 budget estimates final with Superintendent Nagoy.
I will recuse myself from this vote, so I will hang up and call back when I'm emailed.
Okay, the director will email you when we finish that particular item. And this is the final budget estimates. Thank you. Superintendent Nagoy.
Okay, so in light of the motion, we are going to approve a surplus budget with an additional 590 going into the operating reserve, and it's going to be table, I'm just looking, it is table 7 on page 7 of 12 of the report. It will be an operating surplus of 38,000, an operating reserve transfer of 740, a capital reserve transfer for $2 million, and it will include 105.7 FTEs in additional growth and staff enhancements as per table 2 of the report. For a total of $7 million, as well as some program enhancements required for a total of 485 in table 3 of the report. There's some changes from the June 6th regular board meeting. This report includes an additional 3.5 staff for elementary teachers to address class size reductions based on most current registrations, and a reduction of 4 early childhood educators, again based on current registrations. And there has been a new education program, other grant announced since. So as they are announced for the year, we continue to add to the budget. As trustees will recall, we do not forecast these grants. There's been an addition of an expense for $50,000 estimated for the transition of the remaining employee groups to the provincial trusts, which has been included. Overall, there's a $70,000 increase in revenue and a $236,000 increase in expenses for a net reduction in the surplus of $166,000 from the June 6th draft. So those are the main changes between the June 6th draft and the final draft before you. As discussed before, challenges still remain in terms of the sick leave trends and the benefit costs in the transition, as well as transportation costs. The board is able to maintain its balanced position and build a reserve as it is in a growth situation, and through very efficient staffing and class sizes, as well as focusing on programming and expanding the international students program and increasing our facility revenues. There's many, throughout the year, staff look for many efficiencies that we could achieve in order to keep on track, in order to stay under budget and outperform where we can. So staff is recommending to approve the budget in light of the new initiative. The motion will change, just the amount in the motion. I'm just trying to look for that amount. So with all the initiatives excluded, the amount for the 2017-18 budget estimates, Madam Chair, in the motion should be $393,726,490. It's in the report. It's on page 7 of 12 under table 7 as well. And I'd be happy to take any questions trustees may have.
Discussion?
Roxana is presenting right now, and we're moving on in just a minute. What page did you say? 'Cause I don't think I have it.
It's page 7 of the report under table 7. It's the amended amount excluding the initiatives. And so this is the amount that should be in the motion, Madam Chair, right here.
Okay. All right, but I'm having trouble finding that. I've got
Page
the budget.
7.
Well, I've got pages.
Actually, page 24. Oh, it's
Yeah,
page 24 of
yeah,
the,
it's different. 24. Okay, page 24 of the paper copy. Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you. All right, anybody else doesn't have it? It's on page 24 of the big package, halfway down. All right, now where's the motion here? 29. I think I got it in here. There it is, yeah.
So that
Okay.
number.
It's the same number.
This number becomes this.
Okay, so we're going to change that number and the resolution to 393-726-490. Thank you. Okay. Everybody got that? Okay, good. So can we have a mover, please? A mover.
So moved, Quinn.
Thank you. Seconded by? Trustee Ian Tomasi, thank you. Any further questions on the presentation? No? All right. Trustee Rowe?
Madam Chair, question first of all for the director. What was the amount that she arrived at after consultation with staff for new initiatives that were deemed necessary?
Through you, Madam Chair, it was a one-time cost of $180,000 of the $590 originally, and an ongoing investment of $275,000. So at the bottom of your page, it works out to $455,000 for this year's budget.
Okay. Any other questions?
Madam Chair, if I like to make an amendment that the initiatives identified by the director totaling $455,000 be added to the budget estimates for this year.
Okay. Have a seconder? Trustee Michael? Okay. Any questions to the amendment?
Madam Chair, I didn't hear the amendment.
Okay. Trustee Rowe, I'd like to put your microphone on, please, and repeat the amendment.
Yeah, I proposed an amendment that the amount of $455,000 for the initiatives identified by the director be added to the budget.
Okay, Anthony? Anthony?
Respect, Madam Chair, Trustee Rowe's motion's amendment is out of order. We just voted on this.
Yes, we did.
So.
Yeah, we did. We did vote on that. Okay. Yeah, we did. All right. Anything else? We'd have to bring it back another time. Anything else? No? Okay. So are we going to vote for this now? We're ready? Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Ian Tomasi? In favor. Trustee Michael?
In favor.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Vice Chair Twight?
In favor.
Trustee Rowe?
Opposed.
Trustee Danko? Of course. Trustee Quinn?
Madam, wasn't able to hear. Are we voting on the amendment or on the entire motion?
No, the amendment is out of order because it was the amount that we just voted on a little earlier. So we're back to the original resolution, but the original resolution has a correction, the number of 394-316-490 is inaccurate. It's been changed to 393-726-490.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support that.
Are you in favor?
In favor, yes, Madam
Thank you,
Chair.
thank you. That's it, okay, so that passes. All right, moving right along. Thank you. So now, we are going into, we have to get Trustee Danko back. Okay. And we are preparing page 50 to 52. We're going into our bunch of policies here. Where is my package? 50 to 52. Here we go. Okay. We'll have just a 1 minute delay here, and then Trustee Quinn is... Okay. 50 to 52. All right, I'm going to start off because we really can't afford to waste time. So, if on page 50 of your package, item 8.6, it's hello?
Hello. Hello, I'm back.
Trustee Danko, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hello.
We are about to start your batch of policies that you had at the policy meeting last week. Do you want to lead those, or shall we have someone else do it?
That's okay. I can do the introductory part.
Okay, then we're on 8.6, I-10, banking, investment, and borrowing.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is policy I-10, banking. I would like to move the resolution that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the policy committee that this policy I-10 banking name be changed to policy I-10 banking, investment, and borrowing and be approved as amended. Can I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. Seconder, please. Trustee Rowe. Any questions to the policy? All right, all in favor? That passes. Trustee Danko, thank you.
In favor. Favor.
Thank you. 8.7, I-15, school name selection, page 53 of your package. Trustee Danko.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to bring the recommendation of the policy committee for I-15, school name selection. I would be resolved that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the policy committee that I-15 school name selection be approved as amended. I'm moving that. Can I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. Trustee Ian Tomasi, any questions to that particular policy? No? All right. All in favor? Thank you. All right.
Favor.
We okay? Trustee Quinn, are you in favor?
Yes,
Okay.
in favor, thank you.
Thank you. 8.8, I-28, electronic meetings, page 56 of your package. Trustee Danko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move policy I-28, electronic meetings. Be it resolved that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the policy committee and approve policy I-28, electronic meetings as amended. Can I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. Vice Chair Trites, thank you. Any questions to this particular policy? Seeing none, all in favor? Trustee Quinn?
In favor.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to the next one, which is 8.9, I-29 school boundary review process, page 59 of your package. Trustee Danko.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to bring the resolution, be it resolved that the Halton HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the policy committee and approve policy I-29 school boundary review process as amended. I'm moving that, and I would like a seconder, please.
A seconder, please. Trustee Michael, thank you. Any questions to that? All in favor? Thank you. 8.
Quinn is in favor.
Thank you. 8.10, I-34A, reimbursement of board business expenses for employees. Trustee Danko, that's page 63 of your package.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move the following motion, be it resolved that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the policy committee and approve policy I-34A, the reimbursement of board business expenses for employees as amended. May I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. Seconder, please, Vice Chair Trites. Any questions to this policy? None? All in favor?
In favor?
Thank you. I-34B, reimbursement of board business expenses for trustees. It is on page 69 of your package. Trustee Danko?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to bring the following resolution and move the following. Be it resolved that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the Policy Committee and approve Policy I-34B, reimbursement of board business for expenses for trustees and external members of board committees as amended. May I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. Trustee Rowe? Any questions to this policy? None? All right. All in favor? Thank you. Trustee Quinn?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. 8.12, 2-08, teacher supervision duties, rescinding. It's on page 78 of your package. Trustee Danko?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move that be it resolved that the HCDSB accept the recommendation of Policy Committee and rescind Policy 2-08, teacher supervision duties. May I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. Vice Chair Trites. Any questions to this policy? No. All right. All in favor? Thank you. Trustee
Quinn, in favor?
You're in favor, Trustee Quinn? Thank you. 8.13, 3-04, Employee Assistance Program, page 80 of your package. Trustee Danko?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to bring the following recommendation, the following resolution, move the following resolution. Be it resolved that the HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the Policy Committee that Policy 3-04, Employee Assistance Program, be approved as amended. May I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. Trustee Ian Tomasi. Any questions to the motion? None. All in favor? Thank you. Trustee Quinn?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. 8.14, 5-14, alcohol at board school sanctioned events off premises, page 83 on your package. Trustee Danko?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move the following resolution that the Halton HCDSB accepts the recommendation of the Policy Committee and approves Policy 5-14, alcohol at board school sanctioned events off premises as amended. May I have a seconder, please?
Thank you. A seconder, please. I think they're getting tired. Vice Chair Trites, thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Trustee Quinn?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. 8.15, Milton number 8, Catholic Elementary School sketch plan design and preliminary budget. Ryan, page 86 of your package. Mr. Merrick has taken care of that.
Thanks.
Okay, I don't think we have any questions. Trustee Danko?
I think someone else is bringing that motion
Oh, yes,
forward.
you are. Of course you are. I'm sorry. I was just on a run with you. All right.
I'm sorry. I'd like to keep dancing, but it's not my turn.
Thank you. Thank you. That would be Mr. Merrick with the Milton School. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, with regards to the sketch plan design and preliminary budget for the Milton number 8 Catholic Elementary School, we have 3 resolutions for your consideration. The first, to approve the borrowing bylaw for the construction amount of the project. The second, to approve the preliminary budget for the project. And the third, to authorize staff to proceed with the construction of the new Milton number 8 Catholic Elementary School.
Okay. All right. So, any questions to this? We're going to take a mover. Sorry. I don't have enough hands. Trustee Rowe? We're going to take the first one, which is the borrowing bylaw. You're moving on that one. Thank you. Seconded by?
I will second it. Trustee Danko.
Trustee Danko. Any questions, comments to that? I'll read it out, and then we will take the vote on it. No questions? Okay. Resolved that the Halton Catholic District School Board approve borrowing bylaw number 2017 F01 in the amount of $13,668,474 to finance the construction of Milton Number 8 Catholic Elementary School. No questions? All in favour? Thank you. Trustee Quinn?
In favor, thank you.
Trustee Danko?
In favor, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the second one. I will read it out, then I'll ask for a mover and a seconder. Resolved that the Halton Catholic District School Board approve the preliminary estimated project budget not to exceed $13,818,474 for the Milton Number 8 Catholic Elementary School. A mover, please. Trustee Ian Tomasi, seconded by Trustee Carabella. Any questions to that? None? Okay. All in favour? Trustee Quinn? Trustee Danko?
In favor.
Trustee Danko?
In favor as well.
Thank you. Last one on this particular item. Resolved that the Halton Catholic District School Board authorize staff to proceed with the construction of the Milton Number 8 Catholic Elementary School as outlined in the Board Action Report dated June 20th, 2017. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Rose, seconded by? Trustee Vice Chair Trites? Thank you. Any questions to this particular motion? All in favour?
In favor.
Thank you.
In favor.
Thank you. All right. Now we're on the proposed 8.16, proposed 2017 amendment to 2013 Education Development Charges, EDC bylaw. Superintendent Ngoy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As presented at the May 2nd regular board meeting, the last amendment, this is the last amendment of the 2013 EDC bylaw and is presented today for trustees' approval. It is a joint bylaw undertaken with the public board and proposes an increase of $234 per dwelling unit for the residential levy and 7 cents per square foot for non-residential. And with us today, we do have Jack Amendolia from Watson and Associates and Brad Teichman from Overland, as well as Fred, and we'll be happy to take any questions trustees may have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Superintendent Ngoy. Thank you, gentlemen. We do apologize for keeping you. We're sorry to do that. We're running a little late. All right, so any questions, trustees, regarding to the bylaw? Development charges? No questions? Okay, so we're going to move it. Trustee Quinn, Trustee Danko, do you have any questions?
I know that Madam Chair, I know that we are behind in our EDC collection. With this increase, where will we stand?
Did you hear that? All right. Could you repeat that, please? We're behind in our EDC charges. Was that what it said, Roxana?
Yes, that we're behind in our EDC collections, and where will we be with this increase? And that's correct. We do run a deficit in the EDC, and the reason is the bylaw or the levies are expected to be collected over a 15-year period. But as we're growing, and any growing board, you are purchasing land now and then recovering over 15 years. So I probably would pass it to Jack to explain further on this question.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think basically what was explained is exactly.
You have your microphone on?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you. We're just a few people on the phone.
Yeah, so with regard to the deficit, what was explained is that a lot of times the land needs the sites are actually purchased in advance of when the school is bought. So you incur this deficit because you're purchasing the sites and you're collecting the money over a 15-year period, but you might be buying a lot of the sites in a 3 or 4 year period. So that's one of the main reasons we incur this deficit. I can't really say how much the deficit is going to go down over the next several years based on this increase to the charge, but I can say that by doing these yearly amendments, we are mitigating what is happening with the deficit. And even if we look back historically to what the deficit was in 2014 compared to what it is now, it's still in a deficit position, but each year it's slowly coming down as the board continues to amend the charge and keeping pace with the land value increases in the region as well.
Thank you. Any other questions from trustees? Trustee Quinn, Trustee Danko?
I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. So no other questions? All right. I will read the recommendation, and then I'll ask for a mover and seconder. Okay, be it resolved that the Halton Catholic District School Board enact an Education Development Charge Bylaw amendment to apply to the region of Halton. Resolved that the amending EDC bylaw be in the form attached hereto, and that it amend the Board's EDC bylaw 2013 in the following respects. 1. In paragraph 9, $2,269 as the education development charge on each dwelling unit in a residential development. And 2, in paragraph 12, 58 cents as the education development charge per square foot of gross floor area applied to non-residential development. Can I have a mover, please? Trustee Ian Tomasi, seconded by Trustee Rowe. Any other questions pertaining to this? No? All right, we will take the vote. Trustee Rowe?
In favor.
Vice Chair Trites?
In favor.
Trustee Murray?
In favor.
Trustee Michael?
In favor.
Trustee Intomasi?
In favor.
Trustee Carabella?
In favor.
Trustee Danko?
In favor.
Trustee Quinn?
In favor.
Thank you. That is passed. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. All right, moving on to 817, updated 2017 capital priorities, business cases, and requests for early years capital program, EYCP submissions. Superintendent Nagoy, and it's on page 147 of your packet.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Staff requests trustees' approval on 8 new capital priorities business cases and 1 standalone childcare space to be submitted to the Ministry of Education by the respective deadlines of September 8th and August 4th. The list from the original report that was uploaded on Friday has been updated to reflect the Ministry's announcement for funding for our new Oakville South Central Elementary School, and which is the consolidation of St. Joseph and St. James, with the new school being built on the St. Joseph site. And the St. Mark project, which entailed the demolition of the 11 classroom porta pack, the addition of 5 classrooms and a 3-room childcare space, as well as a space for the Ontario Early Years Family Centre. The childcare space is a relocation of the Notre Dame childcare to St. Mark's. And the information report that was added to the agenda today, item 10.5, is providing further information on the new funding and the next steps for these projects, particularly as starting this summer as well. So if we're looking at figure 3, I believe, within your package, and figure 4 outline the 8 business cases and the tentative priority ranking the staff is proposing for trustees' approval, as well as the 1 standalone childcare project for St. Peter, which is related to relocating the Bishop Redding childcare to St. Peter's, which is in close proximity, in order to allow for the maximum classroom addition for that secondary school. So the capital priorities focus on the secondary panel in Milton as one of our most growing areas within Halton, and looks at a Bishop Redding addition of 28 to 30 classrooms, of permanent classrooms, looks at the 3rd Catholic secondary school in Milton. It's also asking for a classroom renovation and retrofit for the St. Michael Catholic Elementary School with the potential child care and the Ontario Early Year Family Centre. And it is looking at the St. Dominic partial rebuild, the Georgetown Catholic Elementary School for Holy Cross rebuild project. Number 6 is the St. Marguerite classroom addition, and then 2 of them that have been added since the Friday report are growth projects within the Milton Boyne Secondary Plan for the next Catholic Elementary School in Milton, and the next North Oakville Catholic Elementary School as well. And Fred and myself will be happy to take any questions trustees may have.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on this particular resolutions and the whole project?
Chair.
Trustee Danko?
And the treasurer, through you to the treasurer, can the treasurer highlight again which item changed as of Monday's announcement?
Certainly. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. We have taken off the list 2 items, which are the Oakville South Central consolidation of St. James into St. Joseph. The ministry has funded a new school on the St. Joseph site. And the second item that was taken off because it received funding is the St. Mark's project, which had a demolition of the 11 classroom porta pack and an addition of 5 classrooms, as well as a childcare and a early years family center. Those 2 projects have been taken off the list, and the 2 projects were added, number 7 and 8 in figure 3, which are growth projects for the next Milton Elementary School and the next North Oakville Elementary School.
Are we all right with that?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Quinn.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if Trustee Rowe could, from the Halton Hills constituency, and let me know if satisfied with recommendations.
We're listening, Trustee Quinn, but we're not sure we're receiving you. Could you, yes, you come and go. Could you repeat that, please?
Let me try again. To ask Trustee Rowe these recommendations, if he would have any amendment to make to this resolution.
If he would have any amendment to make to this resolution, is that what you're asking? Or the ranking
Right,
order?
thank you.
Any amendment to the ranking order, is that what you're asking, Trustee Quinn?
Yes, Trustee Rowe.
Okay, Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to comment to thank staff for including North Georgetown on here to keep us on the radar of the ministry so that they know there is life north of Steeles. And I understand the priorities of the board, no, I'm quite happy with where we are on the ranking order. Thank you.
Trustee Quinn, did you hear Trustee Rowe's response?
I did, thank you.
Okay. Trustee Danko, do you have any questions?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
All right. Trustee Rowe, you had an interest. That was your question? Okay, thank you. All right. I'm not going to read this resolution as Roxanne has just read it. So I will ask for a mover, please. Trustee Rowe, seconded by Vice Chair Trites. Okay. No other comments on this? That's the first one there on page 152. All in favor?
In favor.
Thank you.
In favor.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to turn over the page to 153, and that talks about, I'll read it to you. Resolved that the board approve the proposed project for the 2017 Early Years Capital Program submission as follows. The 2017 Early Years Capital Program project description. In our rankings, we just have one school, St. Peter's Catholic Elementary School, the Child Care, the Hub, and the OEY CFC. Resolved that the board authorize staff to submit the board's 2017 Capital Priorities Business Case submission to the Ministry of Education for funding consideration as outlined in the Ministry Memorandums 2017 B06, Request for Early Years Capital Programs, EYCP funding submission, and 2017 B07, Request for Capital Priorities Project Funding Submission. Could I have, please, a mover? Why wasn't it listed with the other one? Well, you had a big empty space. Okay, we did it all apparently, so that's fine. It's got a big empty space.
Oh, I believe it's the formatting just
Okay.
to keep
All right,
the,
that's good. That's good.
The separate childcare space is a separate funding source, so it was kept separate.
Okay, but it's still within
the main motion.
Okay, that's good. I just practiced my reading. All right, that's fine. Moving to a different topic area, we are going to 8.18, which is request for out-of-Canada travel. Superintendent Pinelli, page 193 of your package, trustees.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before you is a request for travel out of Canada for the Board of Trustees to consider. Again, a request to attend the upcoming ISIF Berlin workshop, October 29th to November the 1st, and the CAPC trade mission being held in Czech, Prague, and Kiev, Ukraine, in February 18th to 23rd, 2018.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right. So we have the resolution, the recommendation, resolved that the Halton Catholic District School Board approve the request for travel outside of Canada by one senior staff member to attend the ICEF Berlin workshop, October the 29th to November 1st, 2017, and the CAPC Trade Mission, February 18th to 23rd, 2018. Can I have a mover? Trustee Danko, thank you. Seconded by Trustee Marai. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Trustee Quinn, Trustee Marai, Trustee Danko? In favor. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're actually getting through this. 819, 216 to 217 year-end audit planning report from KPMG. Trustee Rowe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. KPMG presented their external auditor's report to the audit committee committee last week, and so I would like to resolve that the Halton Catholic District School Board approve the external auditor's 2016-2017 year-end audit planning report.
Thank you. I'm looking to see what page that is on. 196. 196. I passed it. Okay. Just a minute, please. 196. All right. I've just passed it. Thank you. All right. A mover and a seconder, please. Mark's moved it. Seconder, please. Trustee Ian Tomasi. No questions on that. Trustee Danko. Trustee Quinn. Do you have any questions? Well, I'll rest while you're thinking. Trustee Quinn, do you have anything?
No questions.
No questions. Trustee Danko?
I'm okay for now.
All right. So did we get a mover and a seconder on that? All right. All in favor? Thank you. Trustee Michael? Thank you. Trustee Quinn, Trustee Danko, are you in favor of that motion?
I am in favor. In favor.
Thank you. All right, we're getting there. Yes. 220, the 2017-2018 internal audit plan. Trustee Rowe, on page 218.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After discussion at the audit committee and an understanding of the pressures facing boards, we have come up with, approved at the audit committee meeting, the audit plan for next year. So I would like to move, please, resolve that the Halton Catholic District School Board accept the recommendation of the audit committee to approve the internal audit plan for 2017 and 18. Resolved that the internal audit plan for 2017-2018 include the following audits. 1, IT, security vulnerability assessment, and 2, an audit of continuing education.
Thank you, and you're moving that. Seconded by Trustee Carabella. Any questions to that particular motion, which is on page 219 of your package? Trustee Quinn, Trustee Danko, do you have any questions, comments?
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you. All right. We've actually got through them. All right. No staff reports. So we're now into information items. And we don't have anything for our student trustees, of course. So 10.2, school education and field trips. Superintendent Pinelli. That's okay. That's on page 223, field trips.
Before you will find a list of school trips, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for Superintendent Pinelli on field trips? Any questions? Trustee Rowe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Have we reached a similar agreement with the tour provider as to students on the American trip that we reached with the previous American tour.
Superintendent Pinelli? Okay, so perhaps Superintendent Cipriano.
Through you, Madam Chair, we have not, with this trip provider, we have not made that request about what their accommodations and plans will be should we face challenges as we did, as I presented, with regard to the trip provider for the Thomas Merton trips. We will reach out to all our trip providers, all our approved trip providers for those same assurances, and we will make the same requests and demands that we did with our Thomas Merton provider to accommodate any of our students and schools should they have challenges at the border for any American trips. Correct.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Cipriano? All right, thank you. Moving on to 10.3, Budget Report for September 1st, 2016 to May 31st, 2017. Superintendent Nagoy, page 224 of your packet.
We're almost there. This report is the third quarterly report for the budget up to May 31st, and it's monitoring progress against the budget. As of this date, we are 9 months through the fiscal year, so 9 out of 12 or 75%, and 9 out of 10 months for the school year or 90%. So we expect all revenues and expenses to appear within these benchmarks, and they are. So we are on track and on budget as of this third quarterly report, and myself, Erin, and our manager of budget and capital, Jay, which I should have probably mentioned during the budget estimates, is here to address any questions trustees may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, trustees? No? That's page 224 to 30 of your package. No questions. Trustees Danko and Quinn, do you have any questions?
No, I'm okay.
Anthony? Guess not. All right, thank you. 10.4, Capital Projects Report as of May 31st, 2017. Superintendent Nagoy, page 231.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This report represents, again, the third quarterly report for the capital project, providing updates on any capital and land expenses incurred to date. It also contains the cost sheets for any construction in progress that we have, which will include the construction of St. Gregory Holy Rosary Milton Addition and Milton number 8. And myself and Jay and Aaron would be happy to respond to any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for our business people? None? Okay. Oh, it is 10 o'clock. Thank you. All right. Moving 10 o'clock. Thank you. Trustee Murray, seconded. All in favor? We're going past 10 o'clock. Elizabeth?
In favor.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So we're going past 10 o'clock, and we have no questions. And now did we do 10.5, Roxana? No. Next one is 10.5. Ministry funding announcement for school consolidation capital grants, 2017-2018 action plan. Superintendent Nagoy, page 244, your package.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this is my last report for the night. So this report provides detail on the two projects that have been funded by the ministry, and they were announced on Monday. We're very excited that we, out of the 4 projects that we submitted in January, we received 2 of them. So namely, we received a new build for the St. Joseph and St. James consolidation on the St. Joseph site, and we've received funding for a right sizing to St. Mark's, as I've mentioned before. And staff have outlined in this report more details. We do expect a formal ministry letter with all the funding breakdown and details to arrive by the end of June, perhaps beginning of July. And the report before trustees outlines the next steps in the project, especially what staff will endeavor to complete for the summer months. And Fred, Ryan, and myself will be happy to take any questions trustees may have.
Okay, any questions, trustees? No? Okay. Anthony and Anthony, do you have any questions? Anthony and Anthony? No?
No questions.
Thank you. Director?
Sorry, Madam Chair. This is like the staff report before the staff report. So this is information, and then the first meeting back, it'll look the same, and it'll be the staff report. And what Roxana and her team have done have included what the resolution will look like when you see it in the staff report. So we knew that 2 months were going to occur, so we thought we'd bring it now.
Thank you. Any questions for the director's comments? No? All right. Miscellaneous information, 11.1, you have the minutes of the November 14th Audit Committee meeting. You have the minutes of the May 1st, 2017 CPIC meeting, the minutes of the May 9th, 2017 Policy Committee meeting, the minutes of the May 29th, 2017 SEAC meeting. Are there any questions pertaining to those? No? I don't believe there's any correspondence. Do we have any questions? No, we do not have any questions. We will go back into in-camera in just a couple of minutes. And I want to thank everyone who came out this evening, but we will be going back into in-camera right now. So thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going back to in-camera. Okay, Maria?